Shalom YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the family.
In today's video, we'll be discussing some misconceptions that Africans have about South Africa. Let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is danger. So we do know that there is a high crime rate in South Africa, but there's crime everywhere. And a lot of times it seems like people make it out to be like if you walk out of your house, you're going to get robbed, you're going to get stabbed. Like stay in the house with the doors locked or something terrible is going to happen. And we didn't experience any of that for months. And we know a lot of other people who live there who have not had that same experience as well.
Yeah, the biggest issues, I guess, when it comes to danger is if you go into areas that might not be as safe or more impoverished areas. Usually those areas are more dangerous. And I recommend people stay out of those areas. Not saying that it can't be danger in the more developed areas or the richer areas per se, but it's less likely. And most of the time the crime is not always just with random people, but with the people of the same community. So just take that in consideration.
Next up is xenophobia. So we were in South Africa for 3 months?
3 months.
And we didn't really see any of that. Like obviously it's like a melting pot. There's a lot of people from different African countries all in South Africa, and we didn't see any of that. Now we know, once again, these things do happen, but it's on the level that people make it out to be. It's like it couldn't be that heavy and not see it in the amount of time we were there, you know?
And yeah, we didn't roll with different Uber drivers, which most of them are from different African countries, and they've been here for tens of years and explained to us how they love South Africa. Now, we haven't been with everybody and haven't talked to every single African, but just from our experience, it doesn't seem like it's just a huge issue. Now, we have seen news reports and stuff like that of this happening in the past where it was supposed hate, but I don't think it's as bad as people who make it out to be.
The next misconception is that it's so much like the West. A lot of people compare it to America, or we were told when we were in Rwanda that it was like Europe. But I feel like when it comes to like the buildings and the way it looks, maybe so, roads, things like that. But South Africa has a unique culture. Even just from going from Johannesburg to Capetown, it's a whole different vibe. Like they really do have their own culture, and it's beautiful to see. It didn't give me America vibes like you would think. Yeah,
and the people are just so much different than the people of the West, and the way they go about doing things, the way they live their everyday lives. It's completely different. And to be honest, the way when you look at places like America, most of the people, I would say 50% are white. In South Africa, it's a 90% black population. So that's a huge difference in itself. And so when you're saying it's exactly like it, it is very similar, but it's not exactly the same.
The next thing is that all Afrikaans are racist. Now, these are the white people. I don't know, I guess people of European descent. I don't know how they
classify altogether.
I don't know, but that they're all racist. So that's obviously not the case. It really is a person by person type situation. We did hear that there's a whole town somewhere where they're all to themselves. I mean, I'm assuming those people are kind of racist, or you wouldn't make a whole white town.
Well, we don't know.
But other than
we
that,
don't necessarily know.
You know, we didn't have any issues with racism, and we're pretty good at spotting it because we came from America.
And honestly, we've met a lot of different Afrikaans, whether it be in a comment section or just the people we meet in person. And they have been great people, very helpful, very loving. And like she said before, we just judge a person by their heart and not by what they look like, right? And also, we know the complex history of South Africa and everything that happens. But I feel like even back then, there were still people that was for the people, the Africans of the land, was for the South Africans and helped them out also. So we can't generalize or judge a whole group of people that way.
The next misconception is that it's crazy expensive. Now, I already know what you're gonna say. Most of the South Africans are gonna say that it is crazy expensive and that we're saying that it's not because we have American dollars. But to be completely honest, when we base that, we're basing it on other countries that we have been to. Like right now we're in Kenya and it's more expensive. So we just expected, because it's such a modern place, to have more expensive things.
And also Rwanda was more expensive, believe it or not. When it comes to things like food, clothing, housing, which is a big deal, is actually cheaper than a lot of these places. So it's not just because we have the US dollar, it's because South Africa in general is a cheaper place to live than most other countries that we've been to on the continent.
Right. The next misconception is that South Africa is only successful because white people came and did everything, and all the black people are poor, and all of the people that have anything are white people.
And that couldn't be further from the truth, because being in South Africa for over 3 months, we've seen a lot of African excellence. And saying that Africans that are wealthy, we've seen Africans that are engineers, architects, I mean, with huge businesses, and just overall just successful throughout the country, more than I've seen anywhere else on the continent. And so to say that only the Europeans that came in made the country great is ridiculous. Even when you look at the government is ran by the Africans of the land, politics and everything. So to say that is kind of naive, and I kind of feel like it's just a hateful thing to say when you really think about it. Now, we do know the Afrikaans played a huge part in building South Africa and did a lot to contribute. And without them, South Africa wouldn't be what it is today. But to say that they've only been the reason why South Africa is successful is just a lie.
And the last misconception is that you're not getting a real African experience in South Africa, whatever that means.
Right. And that's mostly coming from people that are moving from abroad, whether it be America or Europe. A lot of people tell us that's coming, they don't want to go to South Africa because why would they move from a Western country just to go to another Western style country? And that could be further from the truth, because they have a lot of places within South Africa where it's more rural, where they have their own dialects and languages, and live, you know, pretty much on the land, more simple lifestyle that a lot of people coming from the West, moving to Africa, want to live. So with that being said, you still can come to South Africa and live, like we said again, quote unquote, the real African lifestyle.
And with that being said, we all know that there are going to be stereotypes and misconceptions of people and places. And without getting to know people and getting to actually know and see a place on your own, you can never really know. So the negativity is kind of unnecessary. You got to go see it for yourself.
Absolutely. And with that being said, families, want to say we love you. And as always, shalom.
Shalom.